Okay, the February meeting of the Board of Water Commissioners is full order. Reading of the minutes of the previous meeting. Any additions or edits? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to accept. Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Bills and accounts are still being edited? Yes, okay. Going to executive session for union negotiations, so I need a motion to go into executive session.
Make a motion. Here and gone.
Second.
Second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. In executive session, come out of executive. Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good, okay, thank you.
Bills, I think we're good with bills and accounts.
Okay, so is that a motion to accept the bills and accounts? Approve. Motion, second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Don't want to get too far ahead because our secretary needs to. So we approved motion and everything for the bills and accounts.
Thank you.
You can choose between those two
Did what?
who did, made the motion, who seconded it, but. Okay. Water Dam.
So drilling actually got started a little earlier than initially thought. I think originally I was thinking March, but they were actually there most of last week and they've been there 3 days this week doing the drilling for the design. So that's underway. That's really all I got for getting water at the moment, but we are moving forward.
Okay, I mean, the thing that you sent us was, well, that was the different thing. That was the
Yeah.
lead service. Okay, lead services then. That's what you
So
sent us.
we had done, I don't think it was last year, maybe it was last year. We have an we currently have an IUP listing for lead service line inventory money. So looking at potential money for a replacement, they are completely separate baskets of money. For the talking TDM, we could do a very slight tweak to the inventory, maybe try to get some more money for potholing or something like that to improve the accuracy of the inventory with some more field verifications. And while doing that, we could do a separate IUP listing for potential lead service line replacement funding. That would be based on this report, an additional $14,000 to prepare that report by the deadline, which is May 30th of this year, to submit to
May 30.
May 30th.
May 30th.
To submit to ESC and DOH, the engineering report. That's the.
So what we're doing is we're increasing the current contract from 80,000 to 94 then? You said 14,000, they said the overall?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the multiplier? 3.05, is that a normal thing in a contract? That's their, how they bill for their individuals, depending on what their title is, and yeah, it's always written in there.
Yeah, I think it's great to get on all projects on the list, because it, who knows whether there's going to be funding or not, but we know that if we're not on the list, we have no access to funding.
The inventory is on.
Yeah, right.
So that one is, we haven't gotten anything yet.
Yeah.
So since we haven't gotten anything, I thought if we adjust the report slightly, it might. What we need the money for now is slightly different than what we needed when we applied, since the initial inventory is already done. So we could get money to potentially pothole. Because the more accurate the inventory is, the better it will be for the department when things start being enforced for replacements.
And some or all of this money would be coming out of that grant loan thing from.
It's funded by
Oh, that,
the
no,
bill.
that's the, I'm sorry, I'm
So it's
I'm again, I'm
VIL
confused with
money.
Benny Water. Benny Water is the,
Yeah,
big
that's the,
grant.
that's the other. So this would
Okay.
be bill money that's being sent through the drinking water state revolving fund.
okay. A motion to approve the increase of this contract, an additional $14,000 for CDM.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, not hearing any. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And yeah, where that goes. Correspondence.
So there's a letter, is there also the email?
Got your response here.
The email for this stuff?
I don't think I saw the email in the mailing. I think all I got was the
I think you might have got-
proposed,
It was a little, I was doing it from my couch, so things
Okay.
got a little, it's not quite as organized as it usually was. But, hold on.
right, you guys get an email in the packet?
No. How much is it paid now?
37.74. So
$37.07.
74 cents. So they had one late payment last year, they were charged $16.75, which adds future bills. Then it goes into discussing medical episodes that they've experienced, and being disabled, not able to read. And it just goes on. There was another additional $16.75. So what happened during the re-levy, there was a payment made and it was applied to the past due balance. So to have it avoided going on to the taxes and having an additional fee charged to them.
Okay,
And there's currently a fee of $37.74 from two separate bills. They're requesting that it be,
so are these technically late fees then?
yes, that's what it is.
And these are from two different quarters or two different bills?
Yes, so the bills that were due October and July. So we just typically if the
It-
letter is. letter is-
We agree to, we normally have a motion, right, Bill? To deny the request.
That was already done, was it not?
It has not been denied yet, no.
Do you motion?
So what? Okay, so this is the first time they've actually requested anything.
Yes.
Okay. So for some reason, I made it seem like they originally had asked for something back in October or November. So I mean, generally,
That was just, I was trying to explain exactly what, I think there was confusion as to what happened. So I was trying to explain it. The best thing for them to do would probably be to call and talk to somebody so they can understand exactly what happened, because it would add an additional 6% on the property.
well, you have a
tax on top
November
of that.
board meeting here, so that's what got me
Yeah,
confused.
Yeah, I use old letters. That's what happens. So I don't have to rewrite the
Okay.
whole thing.
So that should be February? Okay. That's the confusing part. Okay.
You have template.
Because it made it seem like we had discussed this back in November.
That was just, again, couch.
Okay. So this is the first time we're hearing about it, and
Correct.
November is replaced, or February is replacing November. And so in this bill, say we don't have the authority to give away resources. So. Looking for,
Unless you did something wrong.
yes,
Part of that, that you, that was explaining the delay was. The delay of response.
There's no excuse for being late. It's just they don't want to pay because it's hard financially and they need water, which we don't shut water off for non-payment, so that's irrelevant. And then just please don't force us to pay the 37.74. So there was no claim against the water department of wrongdoing.
I mean, I don't know if you,
Go ahead,
We've
Brad.
got
You're
the-
the bad guy.
huh? Well, no, I'll make the motion. We have made many of these motions before to deny the claim. Is there someone want to second that?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? I mean, we could, okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Back to sewer bill.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys,
They have a separate report on, so is that,
does that include the sewer?
Actually, I don't think this property had sewer, maybe. It was a
West
bit different
Chester
one.
Street? Kind of in the middle.
it's just, if you're denying the water, the claim with respect to the water, that doesn't take effect with respect to the sewer, they make a separate application. So there have been times when,
If somebody calls and has
there have been times
questions,
they
we will
waive the sewer and
direct
not
them.
the water.
yeah,
We direct people to DPW.
yeah, there's a DPW process, so, but not for late payment issues, they just, we have a process if there was a water spill, like a leak or something that went into the ground and not into the stormwater system, or into the system, like, someone has a.
But these are just late charges, Bill.
Right.
They're not charges for water use. These are
Yeah.
not,
we
they
don't-
paid the bill, but they paid it late, apparently.
Yeah, we don't do the late charge stuff.
You know, there's not any charge on the sewer bill, just the water bill.
Well, that,
There would be sewer included in that number.
yeah,
Like,
But it's an administrative fee more than it is a usage fee.
I'm just saying, you deny yours, but they still have the option of applying to the sewer to have them waive.
But it's a late fee for administering the bill, and we administer the bill for both agencies.
I thought it was.
We keep half the late fee in the end, anyway,
yeah,
for the sewer.
You're all set, right? Okay.
So just change it from November to February.
I mean, you can give them, if they want what is it, a schedule to pay, you know, $5 a month or whatever extra, but
Well, they can pay whatever they
37,
want
I'm sure they,
so, yeah. We don't do schedules like
Yeah.
payment schedules, but we always tell people they can
Well,
pay
yeah,
whatever
we-
they can,
yeah, you
whenever
know,
they can. We don't require full payment. That's what we make.
right, I mean, we did that with, our favorite client out in town of Ulster, right? Our client in town of Ulster. Superintendent's report? Not much rain in January, huh? Only 1 inch. Well, I know I'm watching the news and it made it seem like January was a very dry month, like from the city and stuff.
staff have definitely been busy with water main breaks. They've
Mhm.
Yes.
done a great job trying to handle them the best they can during some really difficult
Kind of
times.
rough
So
winter.
make sure you send our thanks for sure.
Will do.
How far is the frost tonight?
I'm not sure. I know it's been a rough winter.
The water loosens it up real fast. So if it was.
Yeah, by the
frozen-
time we get
The
done.
pipe's only 1 foot under.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a winter this year, that's for sure. Okay, motion to accept the superintendent's report?
Make a motion.
Yes. Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, I got
Other stuff?
So the beginning of the year with payments for some bonds, property taxes, and all this stuff, cash flow for some of these payments becomes a slight issue because we don't carry a huge balance in our general checking. So we have a payment for interest for Cooper coming up. So I'm looking for a motion to transfer $350,000 from our capital improvement into the general checking. And then as the year goes, we can look at how much can come back, but we have a 340,000 payment coming up for Cooper for interest to close out that short-term borrowing. Then moving forward, it'll be a schedule
When's that due by?
to
Tuesday?
25.
So you're gonna take 350 out of capital improvements?
Tuesday.
How much is in capital improvements now? I mean, we call for transferring 150 in the budget anyway, correct?
Right. And as the year goes, I mean, we get cash flow at the end of the quarters from large payments, and we also get the re-levy money in June,
So
so.
technically, you're asking for 200,000 more than
Right.
what we had already budgeted, and that's just a temporary transfer
Hopefully,
of
as
money,
cash
hopefully.
flows, the January to March is with all the big payments going out the door.
Right.
So we have a motion to just do that transfer, and we'll do that.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Second. Any more discussion? Okay, those in favor? Opposed?
Two people have to sign those checks.
Two people? You want them?
No, I was just.
No. Okay,
He's one.
yes.
Oh, all right.
Who I am?
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a request for the board to consider from Supervisor Quigley for iPark. So the line that goes into iPark, Ulster would like the board to consider turning that line over from the sewer plant into the end of that line where it terminates at the iPark campus.
That's the one we talked about before that.
Yeah, so currently, back in October of 23, we had agreed that Ulster had requested temporary responsibility for the water line from Dogwood Street in. In exchange, the town agrees to maintain the supply line from this point to the property, and will also assume responsibility for the Kingston Water Department's master meter. Ulster would guarantee payment of those invoices, which they did. We got the payments for those invoices. And then the second paragraph of that letter was, when town of Ulster works with iPark to establish a new connection, KWD agrees to include that quantity of water through, oh, so that's not different. So we have that water is now included in their 700 a day. And then the Kingston Water Department, upon iPark 87 establishing a new connection with Ulster Water, would reassume responsibility for that water line and remove the water meter from the property. So they're requesting, one, the meter, I requested the meter be changed out because the readings didn't seem quite right. So Ulster has we had talked about this in one of the board meetings not that long ago. It's a huge meter,
Right.
it's bigger than it needs to be. It's a 10-inch,
Smaller.
the 10-inch meter, and they're not, it doesn't pick up low flows when it's that
So
large.
we did change that meter out?
It's in the process of being changed out. Ulster has requested it several times.
So I give them a more accurate read of like what actually.
Yeah, so.
But whose meter is that? That's our
The
meter?
big meter is ours, and if it does get changed out, it'd be
Come back to us.
iPark's meter, but we would get the big meter back, the scrap. For the value.
Well, the replacement meter is being purchased by who? iPark, okay.
So Ulster has a law or regulation that if it's a large meter, it has either to be tested or replaced, and they're in the process of getting it replaced. From my conversation this morning. And then it was also brought up that they would like the board to consider
What do you think?
turning that line over.
Well, should we turn it over for free or should we turn it over for? I mean, that's a piece of infrastructure. Right? I mean,
What are like potential maintenance? Is it in decent shape or is it old as?
That piece of that line does, if there's a break there, it does tend to happen in that section. That from the sewer plant in, the piece going out to the sewer plant, which would be ours no matter what, is if we have a responsibility to get the water to there, is knock on wood, that's not the problem area of that line. There's no answer expected tonight.
mhm.
So,
Well, what's your feeling? I mean, is that something that we should? As a piece of, I mean, it has value, right?
It does. So
I mean-
initially they had offered, really 50,000, but they also wanted the consideration for water. Yes,
Mm.
so that was the initial offer back in 23. For the future water, they wanted to agree to the future water usage, then
Well, what future?
considerations for future water in the agreement, instead of the 700 potential increases. And they offered to pay for the line at that point.
But we didn't identify how much above 700, right?
I'd
Or was
have to find the letter, I don't recall.
Okay.
I think there was a quantity.
I think until there were like an actual firm plan, I think we felt uncomfortable selling more water in an unknown
Right.
capacity.
Come back to us when you have a proposal.
And that's
So
why
we're not just gonna say, oh yeah, go ahead and take up to 2 million. Well,
And that's
Your
why we
bottling
decided
plant.
to do this temporary easement concept, you know, or usage of the line. But I mean, I think that if there's like you know, we could always, you know, there's some pretty good estimation software kind of things out there where we could look at, we know it's a 200 feet, you know, it's a pipe 50 years old, you know, we could probably get a pretty good estimate of like what that possibly could be worth. But I mean, as long as we don't have any like use as a department for that line, you know, I think that we could probably come to some sort of like negotiated, you know, settlement on what a fair value would be. But I mean, I guess Matt would have to tell us whether there's like something that we would need it for ever in the future. But I think that we're trying to get out of the business of serving water to iPark, and so I don't really know why we would want to hang on to the line anyway.
yeah, I
Because
guess.
like if something does break, like even if like this supervisor says, sure, we'll fix it, but what if the next supervisor doesn't? And you know, it could get messy for us in the long term.
So is that a
So like
legal
value-
contract then for us to sell them that line?
Yeah, and so like as like a public entity, right, we're allowed to sell to other municipalities, like we don't have to kind of go through the traditional bidding process. Or auction, we don't have to auction it, we're allowed to sell to a municipality.
So we sell them
so
for $1, is that
could-
what we
could
do,
set-
or we
could
sell
set our
them?
price, like we could basically say to them, like, look, we looked at this pipe, this is how old it is, this is what it's made out of, and, you know, generally speaking, you know, this could be worth $10,000, you know, worth of material. If we were to dig it up now, if it's steel, I don't know what it is, but if we were to bring it to, you know, Millens, or they don't like this anymore, yeah, bring it to a place, you know, this is.
Well,
what
I mean-
it's worth. You know, that could give us a starting point of like what a value could
Right.
be.
What, like, what's the liability if something breaks and we gotta,
Right.
how much is it gonna cost for a break?
The sleeves aren't cheap, and that's a 12-inch line, so. I mean, it would add up if it breaks. I mean, at this point. Once they have a connection, we've pretty much given up the right to sell the water to them directly. So if that
Right.
line's not being used, I mean. I would say if we're not turning it over, it would probably have to be cut and capped to avoid that. And then there's no water being sold to either Ulster or anybody else. It'd just be a dead end line at the sewer plant.
Well, right now, we're obligated to sell them water through what connections? Obviously, there's a connection out to Spring Lake, and there's a connection to East Kingston.
So, yeah, we're the sole suppliers for,
Right,
Those
and
two.
then the connection though to the town of Ulster is where?
Dogwood. It's all in that general vicinity. So we'd have to keep that line going to the general vicinity of the sewer plant. We have to
Okay,
get the water there.
there. And so what we're doing is we're selling them the pipe. Right now, they're using that pipe from Dogwood up to iPark.
Yeah, and they're rolling that into, so we're selling the water to Ulster through the rest of that main currently. As part of their daily allotment.
And if we didn't want to sell it to them, or we didn't want to give them the pipe, we could just cap it.
It could be abandoned. That would be the alternative. And then there's.
And then they would have to go ahead and
Run a new. main.
spend the money to run a new line. I mean. So, I mean, I think we're interested, but I'd like to hear an offer. Somehow, I don't know how you generate that, but I'm not interested in giving it to them for free. It has a cost associated with it. It's an assessment. I mean, if you look at, I don't know, there's a cover sheet sometimes that comes out with our budget thing, right, Matt? You have, or Michael? Isn't there someplace a cover sheet that shows our assets and our liabilities?
Yeah, it should be that.
No, I don't know if it's on.
I guess we don't, I mean.
I don't even know
what
I don't know what the linear foot is right there. I
Right.
don't know how long that is, but.
I mean,
I think the easier answer is, yes, I think we're interested in making a deal, but we're also interested in seeing how much they're willing to pay for it.
and if the offer before was 50, plus we had to sell them some more water, and this kind of, that we weren't really comfortable without details on, I mean, maybe it's 25, and we don't have to, we'll talk about any future water sales later on, right? Like, I don't know, you know, it may be hard for us to put a value on it, but
Yeah.
to me, that is like a compromise, right?
Well,
They offered 50, we
is
said
Jim,
no. we
is
come back
Jim
with it.
on? Jim's not on, is he?
The feeling of the board is we don't.
Come here.
You have any idea how much that line would value at?
No, but I can do an evaluation to take, a couple of days, just, to see, go over with Matt.
Okay.
It's gotta be,
There's gotta be some,
there is a value, obviously. And I mean, the cost of the raw material plus the age of it and the condition of it. But there is definitely a value to that line.
okay, I mean, I say, yes, we're interested, but we need to talk price.
Let them
And
know
you
that
and
we
Jim maybe
come
can
up with a value,
come up
but-
with something. There's gotta be engineering books that tell you what the value is, like, cause I know you have that cover sheet that normally comes out with this shows our liabilities and what we have, when it says, fire hydrants are worth a certain amount of,
Fabulous depreciation over how long it's been there.
It may not be as worth as much as we want, so.
I think the short answer is, yes, we're interested in. We need to talk price.
Work your magic.
Selling the line.
Some line, yeah.
Jim's gonna be like, well, I can give you a $25 gift card to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one, yeah, I'll take that, one for the whole board.
Close.
I mean, I had told that there'd probably have to be multiple conversations, that it
Okay.
wasn't gonna be a yes, tonight, but-
Well, yeah, it's not a yes tonight, but is there money attached, I guess?
Who made the installation?
I'm guessing IBM.
I would assume IBM, but I don't know. off the top of my
Yeah.
head. I'm still through files.
It was materials named.
My guess would be, right,
Our negotiation is going down the hill. Jim was writing us a check for $1. So, yeah.
I mean, I think the real value would be in the convenience for any future that's going to be in that general area, that we want a water supply from that.
A value or a benefit, I mean, whether it has a.
I mean,
dollar
how else
value or
can-
not.
Microchip.
how else can they serve iPark?
I think the residential piece is gonna come off Forces Lane.
Right, but there is no other
I don't know.
connection
I
he
don't know
has
if
to
their
iPark,
infrastructure
right?
is In that.
So that itself is valuable. Okay, I think the short answer is yes, we're interested.
Make us an offer.
He's in the chat, $1.
Anything else?
I think the only other thing I got is Cooper won another award.
Right, and money.
Any money?
No.
Yeah.
I think it was the platinum ACEC or silver platinum. I was trying to remember.
Zach's gonna have access to put a toll on the throughway.
No, doesn't really do anything other than give a plaque.
That's forgiveness, not permissions.
But that's all I got.
On the inside of that pump station will have a lot of plaques on it, huh?
Put an end capsule on there, do the next day.
Yeah.
I can see how
Okay.
it's done.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Well, you're good at that. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
I think you made it too.
Okay.